for heaven's sake. Let's talk to Lee Anderson, who is, of course, Conservative MP for Ashfield, who was at the Home Affairs Committee just last week talking to the Albanian ambassador. Lee, a very good morning to you. Welcome.
Good morning, Michael, and a Merry Christmas to you and yours.
Merry Christmas to you. Let's hope we can all get the Christmas presents to each other without finding rats and you know, fox poo inside them. But, I mean, I realise that some of the striking workers have got cases that they wish to push forward. I don't agree with Mick the Grinch Lynch, and I certainly don't agree with leaving parcels out in the open air so that they can be, you know, soiled by wild animals.
I'm with you on this, Mark. I mean, I agree that our post is doing an incredible nearly 365 days a year, out in all weathers. At this time of year, I think we should come together as a country, as a nation again. You know, all the people that think about going on strikes just think, you know, this time of year, a special time of year, let's just put it on hold for a little bit, get round the table, talk to your employers, and hopefully we can come to some sort of resolution.
Yeah.
But I'm afraid that our colleagues that do these important jobs, they may lose a little bit of public sympathy if they affect people's Christmas. Like you say, nobody wants to open a parcel and see a rat staring at them. There's enough rats running around Parliament at the moment.
Yeah, well,
literally, we've got a problem with an infestation of mice and rats down here. It's not a nice sight, trust me.
No, listen, I've had rat infestations as well in the past, and it's not pleasant. I had them in New York. They emptied a house at the end of my street, and they all started running, you know, wild across the back garden. It was a nightmare, absolutely horrible. So we've got a health issue though as well. That's a serious point. If people are having their presents kind of, you know, crawled across by rats and foxes, it's not a good situation.
Well, it's an unprecedented situation, Mark. Never in my lifetime have I ever heard of people opening presents and rats staring at them. This is like a rat fest, isn't it? It's a Christmas like never before. Look, you know, I think some people are trying to repeat the winter of discontent back in the 70s. I think that's what they're trying to do. Some of these union leaders, they realise that the best chance of getting rid of people like me is through strike action. And you know, we see these poor people on minimum wage, living wage, on low wages, members of these trade unions, and their bosses on 150 grand a year. They're not bothered. They don't give a monkey's mind.
No.
They're using them. They're not losing no money, by the way. Each time their members are on strike, they're probably getting a little bonus at the end of the year as well. It's quite simple.
Absolutely right. Let's talk a bit about what Rishi Sunak said yesterday on the migration front. I thought he was strong. I thought he made some good points. I thought he was very good on the fact that it's unfair to allow these scumbag people traffickers to make millions of pounds out of the misery of others. We've seen yet another tragedy in the Channel overnight. But let's have a look at what you said to the Albanian ambassador at the Home Affairs Select Committee just last week.
Why can't they visit the country for £28, travel on a plane for £28, come, i.e. on a holiday, and then claim asylum? Why can't they do that?
I don't have this information.
So you do have this information. Why can't they do that?
Well, I can't suppose why they do that.
Is it perhaps, do you think, because if they come legally and produce a passport and documents that our authorities, our border control, know exactly who these people are, where they're from, and any activities, illegal activities they may be involved in the past? Do you think that may be the reason?
I mean, what do you reckon, Lee? Do you think he doesn't know?
Yeah. I'll be honest with you, Mark. He was pretty clueless, to be honest with you. I don't like talking ill of people, but the old shambolic 6 or 7 minutes that I got to quiz him, he was just full of nonsense. I mean, he didn't know what I was talking about half the time. But funnily enough, at the end of the interview, when I said to him, do you think the Albanian government should make a financial contribution, i.e. pay us large amounts of cash to put their alleged asylum seekers in hotels? He knew exactly what I was talking about when I mentioned the Reddies. He said no straight away.
Yeah. No, of course. I mean, it seems to be a very odd situation, although from Rishi Sunak's perspective this week, he must have been listening to you. I'm hoping he's been listening to Talk TV as well, because he seems to have done some things and made some measures possible that will be good. For example, sending people back to Albania. Actually, believe it or not, how about this one? I was shocked yesterday when he said, I've instructed the Home Office to now ask for evidence from anybody seeking asylum that they're actually in danger. Well, what were they doing before?
Well, this is it, I think, Mark. We've got a whole culture with these people who's assessing these asylum claims. We know they're doing about one claim per week. Come on, what's going off? I'm pretty sure if they put them on piecework and pay them a tenner a claim, they'd probably do 100 a day.
Yeah.
Look, there's far too many claims been approved, I think. Look at the Albanian situation. 50% of people from Albania are getting their asylum claims accepted. When the ambassador last week it was quite clear to me in the one little clip where he was actually quite open and honest. He said, there's no problem in Albania. It's a country with a big heart. It's a peaceful country. It's a good country. And the people that are leaving there are leaving for economic reasons. That's why they come in. They're not escaping any sort of persecution. It's absolute nonsense. Look, we've got to get on. Oh, Mark, I've been on your show now for nearly 3 years banging on about this. I can see now actually a chink of light at the end of the tunnel. Yes. Something I've always asked for behind closed doors and in public, that is if people arrive here on our shores by a small boat or in the back of the lorry, then you cannot claim asylum. If we make that into law, which we're going to early in the new year, then that stops the poll straight away.
Absolutely right. And quite frankly, this idea that you could be trafficked here willingly by human traffickers who are putting you to work in Britain for their criminal enterprise, and you can then gain asylum by claiming that you were trafficked against your will. I mean, the thing about these lefties and these do-gooders is like they think everybody's a good person. Well, I'm sorry, welcome to the real world. It's like if you're getting mugged by somebody, what do you want to do? Invite them home and come and take all your stuff from the house as well?
Well, this is it, Matt. We've got to put these lefty lawyers out of business. We've seen the awful scenes this morning, this tragedy in the Channel, people losing their lives, still coming here. And look, I'm not blaming anybody for this, apart from us that sit in Parliament. This is our fault. We're here to govern. We're here to protect our borders. We're here to put an end to this evil trade where people are being trafficked across the Channel, and it's still going off. Yeah. As soon as we get a bit of a clearing in the weather, people are still risking their lives. The blame lies with us politicians. Yeah. Well,
I'll tell you what, I'll just put a little addendum onto that, and I appreciate the fact that you're taking responsibility, Lee, because very few people would. But I would add into the people who are to blame for this, those who assist and help illegal migrants when they get here. They're not helping them to come in the first place because that's done from Calais. But once they get here, there are charities and there are lawyers who are making it possible for them to settle here. And as long as that goes on, they're going to keep coming. So they're complicit in this illegal, deadly trade, I'm afraid.
They are complicit, Mark. They're part of the pull factor. We see several of these charities, Migration Watch or loads more accepting or receiving actually taxpayers' money over the past 5 years, about 200-odd million quid they've received. It's absolute nonsense. This is a whole industry. I've said it for ages, Mark. It starts with the people traffickers, and then it goes right through to the lefty lawyers. It goes to the hotel owners. It goes through to Serco. These charities are receiving tens of millions of pounds of taxpayers' money. It's a whole multi-million-pound industry. But like I say, you're quite right to add these do-gooders on the end there. But ultimately, Mike, the buck stops with us. We make the laws, we make the decisions, and it's our jobs as politicians to control our borders.
Yes, no, I agree with you. I'll just give Migration Watch a pass there, though, because Migration Watch are the people who keep an eye on it, as opposed to the people who actually assist the ball coming in. But listen, Lee,
I do apologise for that.
No, that's okay. No, don't worry. What are you making of Sir Keir Starmer? I know you've always got some choice words for him. Yesterday didn't have much to say about the migration plans, other than he said, we've been calling for this for ages. It turns out he's only been calling for it since last Friday.
Look, Mike, nobody's taking a deal of notice of what Sir Keir says. Actually, yesterday during the debate on the illegal crossings, he gave his little 5-minute speech, did his normal stuff, bored us off to death. Actually, he bored most of his backbenchers to death, because shortly after he finished speaking, they all cleared off. They left the backbenchers and went for a cup of tea. Yeah. Our side of the house was crammed to the rafters. It was a vociferous debate, and it was really good to see Rishi on top form. This is a battle that Sir Keir doesn't want in the House of Commons, because he knows he's got to try and appease his own backbenchers who quite frankly, will fight us tooth and nail against this. But at the same time, he's got to try and win back those red wall voters in places like Ashfield, where I represent. And I think he's on a loser with this one.
And has your constituency and others, the red wall ones in particular, been encouraged by what Rishi Sunak said yesterday?
Well, yeah, I mean, my inbox is filling up with people saying they're encouraged, but we've been marched to the top of the hill before on this, Mike. You know that. We've been promised things before. But actually, this is the first time we've seen a Prime Minister since I've been here actually say that if you arrive here illegally, then you're going straight home. That's encouraging for me.
Yeah, absolutely right. Lee, great to talk to you. Thanks very much indeed. If we don't see you before, have a very, very Merry Christmas, if you can.